Alex Stone Show. I'm your host, Alex Stone. I am on a mission to spread the light of the gospel into every aspect of life. And yes, you heard me correctly. I did say every, including the things that most Christians do not like to discuss, such as politics. We are in 2025 during President Trump's second administration. And while many people are very excited for what is to come for this administration, many people are talking about 2028. Who will take back the House in 2028? Will we keep it? Will the Republicans keep it? Or will the Democrats take it back again? But there is someone else who is looking even further than 2028. He is looking 2026 is what we're looking at. And someone who is looking at 2028 for a presidential run is a man by the name of Gary Barve. We will be interviewing Gary Barve in just a moment. But before we do that, we will be right back.
Alex Stone.
Alex Stone.
Alex Stone.
Alex Stone. I want to point out my adopted nephew, Alex Stone.
He's the host of the Alex Stone Show, and I'm pretty sure he's related to my good friend Roger Stone. That's his uncle, Alex Stone. First time.
All right, guys, we are back with another episode of this show. And like I said, we have someone who is looking to 2028 for a presidential run. I've had many people on my show. I've had Roger Stone. I've had General Michael Flynn, all the top names. But someone who is running for president of the United States of America is not something that you have an opportunity to do very much of the time. But we are going to be introducing to you Gary Barve, who is running for president of the United States in the 2028 presidential cycle. Gary, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Alex. Hey, it's great to be back on the awesome Alex Stone Show. I know you and I met at Charlie Kirk's awesome America Fest in December 2024. And then I interviewed with you at CPAC 2025 as well, Matt Schlapp and Mercedes Schlapp, CPAC 2025. And I thought that was a really nice interview. Before I introduce myself to your great viewers and listeners, I just want to say this to you, Alex. And I said this to you, I think, during our previous interview, the CPAC 2025 interview as well. I genuinely believe that, our young American people, our young patriotic American people have a lot of potential. They have tremendous potential. And I genuinely believe that you, Alex, are a tremendous inspiration, not just for the young people, but just for all American people. I know you are, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you're, I think, 21 years old. And 21. I think you have done about 350 podcast episodes, or probably more than that by now. And I know you and I had a conversation during the interview, actually, at CPAC 2025, where, I said, do you have like 70,000 followers on your X.com account? And you said, well, we'll get there soon. And I looked at it a little while back, and looks like you have gotten to that milestone. And congratulations on that. I think you have about 71,000 followers on your social media, and you're a big MAGA guy as well, which I really appreciate, my friend. And let me quickly introduce myself to your great viewers and listeners. My name is Gary Barve. I am a huge supporter of our President Donald J. Trump, a proud Republican of the Republican Party that belongs to our President Donald J. Trump. And I'm officially running for President of the United States of America in the 2028 election to help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and to help him save America. And I'm running because I love President Trump. I love our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I love our great American people. And I want to help President Trump make America great again. That's why I'm running. And I just want to say this before I open it up for any questions that you might have for me. Alex, open book, as always. I just want to say this. I respect all religions, but I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I believe the Bible is the Word of God. And I genuinely believe that Jesus Christ is with President Trump. Jesus Christ is with our great American people. Jesus Christ is with our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I will say this, Jesus Christ is with me, and I am looking forward to the battle that lies ahead to save America, make America great again, keep America great, and save America as the Republican supporter of the greatest and the 47th president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. And, I was just Alex, I was just on the Brian Ferentz show this morning. It was supposed to be like a 45-minute to a 1 hour show. It lasted for like an hour and a half. And, I just gave an introduction where I said, what a tremendous start to President Donald J. Trump's administration, right? Hundreds of executive orders signed. The southern border is a lot more secure. I think I said something similar on your show as well. But, it's been a tremendous start to his administration. Under dumb as a rock Kamala and crooked Joe Biden, our country was going down a tremendous negative spiral. And I will say this, by winning the election on November 5th, 2024, against all odds, President Trump won the election and he has already saved America. And I believe he is going to continue to make America great again, keep America great, and save America. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you could have for me, Alex. Open book.
Right. Well, thank you for the introduction of yourself. Obviously, you're very passionate about running for president of the United States of America, considering it's only 2025 and you were even running in 2024. So I guess kudos to you for that energy and that level of excitement that you already have for your campaign
Thank you.
for
Thank you,
president.
my friend.
Few questions. All right. Why?
Let's go.
I know that you ran for a couple offices before. You ran for Santa Clara City Council and lost. You then moved to Florida. You ran for Congress in Florida and then lost. And now you've moved to Arizona to run for president of the United States of America. You've lost two elections that probably, are way easier than winning president of the United States of America. Why are you running for president with those two losses beforehand?
Well, I think you asked me this question in the previous interview as well, and I'm going to answer it right now again. Look, I would not at all categorize those two elections as losses. I don't like to associate that word with me. I believe, I'm going to say it this way, right? The Santa Clara City Council campaign, which I ran in the 2020 election as a Republican supporter of President Trump in District 6 in Santa Clara, California, there was no way to win that election, Alex. There was no practical way to win that election. There were, to my memory, only about 17%, 17% Republicans in the district that I was running in. And I got approximately 23% of the vote in a 3-person race. And I ran as the biggest, most loyal supporter of President Trump in America. I wore a red Make Santa Clara Great hat during that campaign, which was given to me by the then vice chair of the California Republican Party. And so, it surpassed all expectations. I write about this in my new book. I'm going to make a quick plug, right? I've written a book. I think you and I talked about it off air a few days back as well. One Nation Under God. That's the name of the book. And I talk about this in my book. And the book is about our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. It's about President Donald J. Trump and my love and support for President Donald J. Trump. It's about the America First agenda. It's about some campaign social media posts that I've made that I think are pretty interesting, maybe a little bit even controversial as well. And some advice that I have, especially for young people like you, Alex. And I consider myself to be young from a presidential campaign perspective as well. I'm 40 years old. But I think that's a really, really great book. And in the book, I mentioned that the former vice chair of the California Republican Party gave me those two Make Santa Clara Great hats. And so we had a tremendous campaign. We surpassed all expectations. And it was a tremendous success, considering especially that it was my first campaign. The first campaign for president, first campaign for any campaign, right? That was my first campaign for elected office. Is a very significant decision when you run for your first election. Considering that it was my first campaign, I thought that was a tremendous, tremendous result. And then obviously I relocated to Lynchburg, Virginia, became a student at Liberty University, which I'm sure Alex, is one of the largest Christian schools in America. And, I completed one course there. And then, like you said, I was in Florida and I ran for U.S. Congress in Florida in the 23rd district in Florida as the Republican supporter of President Trump. And, we had a tremendous campaign there as well. We hardly donated any money or we hardly contributed any money towards the U.S. Congress campaign. And we still got a lot of votes. We got a lot of votes in that election. And so, I just read this book by President Trump. I've been tremendously positively influenced, positively inspired by President Donald J. Trump. And there's this book by President Trump, which I've talked about with you on our previous interview as well, Alex. Think Big. It's titled Think Big by President Trump. And in the book, President Trump talks about a lot of things. He talks about think big. he talks about never give up. He says, if there's one message I leave you with today, never, ever, ever, ever give up. Keep fighting for our country. Keep fighting for our American people. And, he says, go against the tide, which means go against the convention, go against the current. And, he says, love the country and serve the country. And I believe I'm doing exactly that. And I think I'm thinking big to a tremendous extent by running for president. I will say this, and I'm running for president as the Republican supporter of President Trump in the country. And, I will say this, I respect all elections, right? I respect city council, town council, school board, state elections, federal elections, US Congress, US Senate. I respect all religions. I respect all elections. I believe all elections are extremely important. And some of the elections that I mentioned are actually closer to the people than, say, the presidential election. But I believe the challenge in the presidential election is a lot more than some of the other elections, in my humble opinion. And I say that because the geography is a little bit bigger, right? And so it also, the presidential election has tremendous impact on the American people. And so, look, I love what I do. I believe in my opinion, I am the best interview in America right now, on a candidate interview in America. And look, you might disagree, you might agree. I don't know. I'm going to give a long-winded answer to your question. But I've interviewed with Mike Carter with Newsmax. I've interviewed with Fox News. I've done a video for Lara Trump's show, My View with Lara Trump show on Fox News. Those two have not been broadcast yet on their network. Hopefully they will soon. I've interviewed with RSBN with Christina Loren, my friend Christina Loren with RSBN. It was a live interview that went live to probably about 100,000 people who watched that interview. I've interviewed with the Epoch Times with Jen Garcia. I'm interviewing with you, Alex, and it's been a tremendous start to the campaign. I've done probably about 20, 30 interviews. And so I believe the momentum is with me in a very, very strong way. And that's one reason why I believe I will be a tremendous competing candidate for president. I would say I'm dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle right now. I'll give you a couple of other reasons, all right? I've taken on gangs and cartels such as MS-13 and Tren de Aragua in a way that I believe no one has done in the history of our country other than President Donald J. Trump on the political stage. I'm not comparing my courage with the courage that our great police, sheriffs, ICE, military, veterans, firefighters, and first responders have. They have tremendous courage, and I tremendously respect and admire their selflessness and their courage. I'm talking about the political stage, and I'll prove it right now. There are these gangs that have come into our country. I know you and I discussed this a little bit, Alex, during our previous interview as well. MS-13, right? These are bad people. They literally cut people up just for fun. Tren de Aragua, right? And, when I heard of this gang named Tren de Aragua, I said, what a stupid name for a gang, right? Who names their gang Tren de Aragua? It's a stupid name, but it's a vicious gang, Venezuelan gang that came across the southern border into our great United States of America illegally. And they literally took over a complete building in Colorado recently. These are bad people. And there's the Sinaloa cartel that, I visited the southern border recently with some great American law enforcement officers. And there's this Sinaloa cartel that I'm talking about now as well. And so my direct message to any gang members that may or may not be listening to Alex Stone's show right now, my direct message to these MS-13, Tren de Aragua, Sinaloa cartel gang members is get the hell out of our great United States of America. If you don't, we will incarcerate members of your gangs, or we will kick out of our country members of your gang. Alex, all our great American people, I'm ready to take a bullet for you because I want to keep our great American people safe and secure. I believe that law and order, in my opinion, law and order is the very fabric that holds our country together and makes us the greatest country in the world, along with many other things, such as American exceptionalism, entrepreneurial spirit. And I will say this, the personality that our American people have, the young people in America, like Alex, you and a lot of people, young people in America, have such tremendous personalities. And, you're very patriotic people. I love that. You have to love the country. You have to love our great American flag. And, if you don't love our country, you've lost me there. You have to love the country. And so, I think I've taken on these gangs and cartels, circling back to what I was talking about, in probably, I would say, the most courageous way on the political stage, along with President Donald J. Trump. And then the third reason that I will talk about why I believe I'm a very viable candidate, along with the reasons that I just gave you, is I'm glorifying God. I'm glorifying Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And look, I respect all religions. I want to say that very strongly. I respect all religions, but I believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I believe the Bible is the Word of God, and I am Christian. And so I'm glorifying Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior in a way that on the political stage, on a campaign stage, in a way that I believe no other candidate in the history of our country in the presidential elections has ever done. And so we have had a tremendous start to the campaign, and the momentum is there. The momentum is there for everyone to see. It's so obvious that the campaign is really doing tremendously well. And finally, I will say this: I am the biggest, most loyal supporter of our President Donald J. Trump in America. And I say that with complete confidence and complete, I'm saying it unequivocally. I'm saying it unequivocally. I'm the biggest, most loyal supporter of President Donald J. Trump in America. And I'm going to say exactly why right now. You ready for it, Alex?
Go ahead.
All right, so let's go. So, look, November 15th, 2022 is when President Trump announced that he's running for President of the United States of America in the 2024 election cycle. And you know this, at that time, there were no indictments against President Trump, right? And then, right after he announces his candidacy for president in the 2024 election cycle, there's indictment one, indictment two, indictment 3 and indictment 4 against President Trump because of the political weaponization of the Department of Justice, which was because of the corrupt Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or crooked Joe Biden, and dumb as a rock Kamala Democrat Party. And, while we are on the topic of the political weaponization of the Department of Justice by the corrupt Democrat Party, I just want to say this. You know this person, right? New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Yes.
I call her, and people call her Big Tish. And, she's this horrible, horrible person who politically weaponized the Department of Justice against President Donald J. Trump. And she was sitting in the courtroom, and, it was she's just a horrible, horrible person. And my direct message right now to Big Tish or Letitia James is very simple and straightforward. Letitia James or Big Tish, when you address the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, remember this: he is Mr. President to you. And so, coming back to the story that I was talking about, Alex, 4 indictments and then 2 assassination attempts against President Trump. The first assassination attempt, it was 1/8 of an inch. It would have been an even worse day than it was. It would have been a really, really bad situation, even worse than it was. But, I said this a long time back, and I'm saying it again. President Trump is a big Christian. Jesus Christ is with President Trump, and Jesus Christ is with our great American people, and President Trump will win the election and he will save America. I said this a long time back. And, there was the raid of the Mar-a-Lago against President Trump as well. And the man, President Donald J. Trump, fought like no man has fought for our country before. And he won against all odds, and he won big against dumb as a rock Kamala. He won all 7 battleground states, one after the other. 312, I believe 312 electoral college votes, popular vote as well. He won by millions of votes. And it was the greatest political comeback in the history of our country. And so, when 2020, when I completed my city council campaign in Santa Clara, California, I did not know that President Donald J. Trump is going to run for president in 2024. I had no idea. And, I said, I love President Trump, and I'm going to fight for the man because he fights for America. He fights for our American people. And he loves our country, and he loves our great American people. And, so I decided, while so many people deserted President Trump, betrayed President Trump, I supported President Trump like I believe no other candidate in the history of our country has supported President Trump. And so, I say that's one of the reasons why I'm the most loyal supporter of President Trump. But there's another reason that I'm going to talk about right now. July 13th, obviously, was the horrific assassination attempt against President Trump, right? And, I was actually at a Vietnamese Make America Great Again event at the time of the horrific assassination attempt. This was in Florida. I was a candidate for U.S. Congress in Florida at that time. And, I was in conversation with the candidate for sheriff, and it's the candidate for sheriff who broke the news to me. He said, Gary, President Trump has been shot. And I was devastated because I love President Trump. But even in that moment of devastation, I said to the candidate for sheriff, but President Trump is okay, right? Nothing can happen to him, because I genuinely believe that Jesus Christ is with President Trump. And so I went on stage probably an hour and a half after the horrific assassination attempt happened. And, there were about 250 great MAGA patriots at this Vietnamese MAGA event. And I said the following 3 things to the great American people, patriotic people at that event. I said, first, my direct message to the criminals and the gangs and the cartels such as MS-13, to the drug dealers, to the drug smugglers, to the human traffickers is this: your brutal reign of terror in our great United States of America will come to an end on November 5th, 2024, when President Donald J. Trump will win the election, and we will once again shut down the southern border. We will build the wall. We will stop, catch, and release. We will stop asylum fraud, and we will designate all foreign cartels in our country as foreign terrorist organizations, and we will choke off their supply to the global financial system, and we will once again make America great again. Second, my direct message to the criminals is this: if you fire a bullet at President Donald J. Trump, or if you fire a bullet at me, Gary Barr, fighting for my and our great United States of America, I believe, and I believe President Trump also believes, it is not our responsibility to duck from the bullet. It is the bullet's responsibility to miss us. And the third thing I said was, I respect all religions, but I'm Christian. I believe Jesus Christ is with President Trump. Jesus Christ is with our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And Jesus Christ is with our great American people, and President Trump will win the election, and he will save America. And like I said, he won, and he won big. President Trump won the election, like I said, in all 7 battleground states against dumb as a rock Kamala and crooked Joe Biden, Biden's Democrat Party. And, so I am now a target for the rest of my life. Right from the moment of that speech, I would say probably many years, probably before that, I've been taking on these gangs and cartels, especially MS-13, for a long time. But especially after that speech, I became a target for the rest of my life. And I want to keep it that way, because I want to get these gangs and cartels out of our country, and I want to get them out of our country immediately. And so I have no doubt in my mind that I'm the biggest, most loyal supporter of our President Donald J. Trump in America. And, I love President Trump in a way that I believe no one in America loves President Trump. And I think it's going to be a tremendous, tremendous campaign. It's already a tremendous campaign. I'm on You're Awesome, the Alex Stone Show, and the momentum is there. I mentioned a few networks that I've been on. I've also been on a lot of regional shows, probably 20, 25 interviews, media interviews. The name recognition is increasing and improving in a really, really tremendous way. And there's a reason for that. And the reasons that I just mentioned, that's the reason why I think it's, the campaign's moving forward in a tremendously positive momentum and a tremendously positive direction, my friend.
Well, Gary, that was certainly a lot that you just said there. One of the things that you said actually a couple of times is no one has taken on the gangs and cartels the way that you have, aside from President Trump.
I said on the political stage. On the political stage, yes, Alex, that's true.
Explain what you mean, but I mean, we have congressmen and women and senators and governors who are talking about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Who are I'll just say it, have much more of a following than you do. How are you
I
the
think that, yeah.
number 2 person in the United States of America who is taking on these gangs and cartels, aside
Yeah.
from President Trump, when we have literal U.S. senators
Yeah.
and even governors, Governor Greg Abbott, for example, who are talking about this?
Well, I don't want to talk specifically about a specific governor or a specific elected official, but I will say this: there are a lot of MAGA Congress people, there are a lot of MAGA senators, there are a lot of MAGA state senators, state House of Representatives, city council, town council, a lot of MAGA school board, a lot of MAGA people who are great elected officials and are fighting for our country. But I just want to say, on the political stage, I will say, let me do this to be a little bit more reasonable. And it's not even true, but I'll say it because I think it might be the right thing to say. For the 2028 presidential election cycle, I'm the most courageous candidate, irrespective of who runs. And I'm sort of saying that to appease a few people, but I'm saying that in reality, I'm saying, if you look at the interviews that I've done, Alex, if you look at the interviews that I've done with RSBN, if you look at the interviews I've done with your show, The Alex Stone Show, if you look at the interview I've done with the Epoch Times, I do not believe that there's any other, in my opinion, elected official who has taken on these gangs and cartels in a way that is as strong as I have done, other than President Donald J. Trump. I believe that to be a fact, and I'm going to stick with that. I might say that, it's only the 2028 presidential election cycle, but the reality is, I know there are a lot of people who are potentially going to run against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle, but we don't know exactly which people are going to run. There'll be a lot of people running. So it's a broad statement, irrespective of how I spin it. And so the reality is, when I go on air and I say I'm addressing the gang members directly right now, I hope you are listening into this radio show or TV show or whichever network I'm on. And my direct message to you, gang members, is get the hell out of our great United States of America. When I make posts on campaign social media where I say these things, and I've not just been saying this after President Trump's tremendous win on November 5th, 2024, I've been saying this for a long time. And I just unequivocally believe that because of what I've done on this political stage, when it comes to politically attacking these gang members, I think it's quite obvious that I'm the most courageous person on the political stage. I will say in the 2020 presidential election cycle, but I'm going to give you a little bit more ammunition when it comes to this particular
I'm
point.
gonna pause you for a
Let me
second.
respond. But let me answer your question, Alex. Let me quickly say this. I mentioned a little bit. I visited the United States of America's southern border. Uh, on May 7th, I think it was, with some great American law enforcement officers. And, I recorded a video there, and there was, so I'm going to explain the situation. I'm right here. On this side is the wall, right? A few feet away, the great wall that President Donald J. Trump built that really literally curbed tremendously the illegal immigration from happening from across the southern border. And on the other side, there was a great American, I call it the Great American War Machine. And this video is on my social media. It's on my campaign website, www.garybarveforamerica.com. And there was a great American military personnel who was a young guy. He was a very young guy, young man, brave and courageous, tremendous guy. He was sitting on top of that American war machine. And, I went up to him and I said, hello, sir, how are you? I'm running for president of the United States of America 2028 election, Republican supporter of President Trump. And, we got to talk especially about the southern border and these gangs and cartels such as MS-13, Tren de Aragua, Sinaloa cartel. And he shared a story with me. He said to me, Gary, if there is a MS-13 gang member, right? Let's take the example of a MS-13 gang member. Let's say there's a MS-13 gang member who climbs that wall, which is like a few feet away, the southern border wall. He climbs it from the Mexican side of the southern border, and he fires at the military personnel a bullet. The military personnel said he's not allowed to fire back at the MS-13 gang member. And he said the reason for that is it will create an international incident. But he went even further than that. He said, let's say the MS-13 gang member does not climb the wall. He goes further into the Mexican side of the southern border, climbs, say, a building. There are a lot of buildings over there. He climbs a building. Maybe he has a sniper and he shoots at the military personnel, the American military personnel who is on the American side of the southern border. The American military personnel said he's not allowed to fire back at the MS-13 gang member. And I said, that's a travesty. And so, I usually do not make decisions spur of the moment, right? President Trump talks about it in his book, Think Big, in a tremendous way. He gives out exactly how you should make decisions. He says, analyze the data in a fixed amount of time and then make a gut instinct decision to, whatever it is that the situation that you're trying to come to and arrive at a decision for. And so, but some decisions you just have to make right away. And when I realized that military personnel, that great American young military personnel would be dead if that MS-13 gang member fires at him from the Mexican side of the southern border or from on the wall, I made a gut instinct decision. I made a video, and I said this in the video. I said, to our great police, sheriffs, ICE, military, veterans, firefighters, and first responders, and to all American people, if there is a MS-13 gang member, Tren de Aragua gang member, Sinaloa cartel gang member, or let's say there's any person who shoots a bullet at you to try and take your life, fire back and shoot to kill, because I want to keep our great American people safe and secure. And I don't care if the international incident happens. If I'm the 48th president of the United States of America, I have the American people's back, and I will solve and resolve the international incident, because the international incident is, relatively speaking, insignificant when it comes to the most important thing, protecting and keeping our great American people safe and secure. And so do you know any other people on the political stage who are saying things the way I am saying? I don't think so. And so that's the reason why I'm saying I'm the most courageous person on the political stage to fight against these gangs, cartels, drug dealers, drug smugglers, human traffickers, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, Sinaloa cartel, or all these bad people. So I think I'll win that debate if, let's say, if DeSanctimonious or J.D. Vance or anyone, opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek Ramaswamy, or anyone on the Democrat side, such as Gavin Newsom or dumb as a rock Kamala or Pritzker or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders. If any one of them want to contest me on that, I will be very happy to debate them on this, and I'm confident I will win the debate. And so that's my position on it. I'm going to support my position with what I just said.
Well, I certainly appreciate your position. I think that most people who support President Trump would agree with you on some and many, or if not all, of your the things that you've said about MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and each of these
Yeah.
gangs and cartels. I want to talk about your campaign for president of the United States of America.
Okay.
We've established that obviously you're running, and I
Yes.
think you're pretty serious about running.
Let me can I quickly say this?
Go ahead.
I'm completely committed to running for president of the United States of America in the 2028 election as a Republican supporter of President Trump. The only way I see that I back out of this election is because of my loyalty and love for President Trump. If President Donald J. Trump is top of the ticket, top of the ballot in the 2028 presidential election cycle, in some way he's top of the ticket, top of the ballot in the 2028 presidential election cycle, I will drop out of the election. I would not be happy about it because I love running for president, and not just like for some power grab. I want to make America great again, keep America great, and save America as the 48th president of the United States of America. But otherwise, I would say I'm completely committed towards running for president of the United States of America in the 2028 election as a Republican supporter of President Trump.
I certainly believe you. I believe that you're certainly very, very, very extremely committed to that, like you just said. Now, obviously, and I think I've talked about this with you before,
Okay.
for 2028, you're the only person I think that's declared that they're running and is actively campaigning for this.
Yes.
We don't know exactly who else is going to run, but in theory, it would probably be someone like J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, maybe. I would assume Ron DeSantis would try again, even though you and I both agree that
He's horrible.
he'll never become president of the United States.
Correct.
Shot himself in the foot. Do you think you can compete with these guys, and if so, why?
Well, it's not. Well, I just gave a very, very strong sort of the last few minutes. I said exactly why I will compete. You're having me on your show. A lot of people are having me on their show. I think that's a tremendous thing.
Right, but
I'm not just gonna compete. But let me say this. No, but hold on. Let me say this, and I'm gonna let you respond as well. I want to answer your question. The question is not about whether I compete or not. That's not the question anymore. That was a long time back. I started off my campaign by saying in September 2024, when I announced that I'm running for president in the 2028 election cycle, I said I've got a 1% chance, or just about a 1% chance, of winning the election. Those days are long gone. That's a long time back. I've done about 25 media interviews with some of the biggest networks in America, and that time is long gone. And so now we are at a situation where I'm completely dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle. As you said, I'm the only viable candidate that's running for president in the 2028 election cycle.
I didn't say viable. I just said you're the only candidate who's currently running.
Well, I would say I'm not just a viable candidate, Alex. I'm just dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle. And let me say this. I have a direct message to all my 2028 presidential election opponents. All right. You ready for it, Alex? Let's go.
Go ahead.
My direct message to Gavin Newsom, dumb as a rock Kamala, Socialist, Democrat, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or AOC, Bernie Sanders, Pritzker, maybe Hillary Clinton wants to run against me, Boot Edge, Elizabeth Warren, or as people call her, Pocahontas. On the Democrat side, this is. On the Republican side, Ron DeSanctimonious, who is the most disloyal person in America, and I'm not just saying he's the most disloyal elected official in America, he's the most disloyal person in America, along with Nikki, Democrat running as a Republican, Birdbrain Haley. And J.D. Vance will probably run against me. Opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek Ramaswamy will run against me. Colossal rhino, Chris Christie will run against me. Rhino meaning Republican in name only. Inauthentic rhino, Glenn Youngkin, who is a fake plastic political guy who did not endorse President Trump during I would say, the primary phase of the election. He might run against me. Youngkin, he might run against me. There are so many people who will run against me. And my direct message to all these people, Mike Pence as well, Carrie Lake, who knows who's going to run against me? My direct message to all the people who are considering running against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle is very simple and straightforward. File for office right now. Today, file for office, go to the FEC, file for office. I'm looking for opposition. I'll tell you this. I'm dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle in a tremendous, tremendous way. I'm the only candidate running, and I'm getting on all these networks. And so if you in the sense, the people I just talked about, and any potential 2028 presidential election opponents, if they sit on their heels and they do nothing about the 2028 presidential election cycle from the perspective of filing for office, I'm going to run away with this election even before you file for office. So file for office. I'm looking for opposition. Let's go.
I think it's certainly 3 years too early for that. For most people,
Why do
I
you
would
say
say.
that? Why do you say that, Alex? Why do you say that?
Well,
It's not too early for that. I am defining when the 2028 presidential election starts. As an American, as a person running for president, I have the right and the ability to do that. And I'm doing that. I'm forcing the issue. And you look at some of the news cycles, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders are thinking, from what I've seen on the news reports, they're thinking of running as a ticket for the 2028 presidential election cycle. Now, I'm not saying I'm taking credit for that news cycle, but what I am saying is that I'm creating a lot of buzz when it comes to the 2028 presidential election cycle, and we're moving the needle in a very strong way. I believe I've got a great shot at winning this election, Alex. Believe me.
well, okay, so that wow. You're certainly confident in yourself, which, I mean, I'm glad that you're confident.
Thank you.
I just, obviously, we have 2026 that we're hoping to retain the House, right?
Yes.
And
We won the
I,
House,
I,
we
I
won the
think
Senate, and we want to
I
win
think
and win strong. Yes, sir.
I think you're one of the few people who are talking about the 2028 election. You keep talking about this momentum you have, and you've been on a lot of podcasts, and I'll give you that, and kudos
Thank you.
to you for that. But with all due respect, Gary, you have 37 followers on X.
Correct. I
I
think it's
mean,
36. Someone dropped out. I'm not sure who dropped out. I
no,
think it's
I'm
36.
looking
Is
at
it
it.
37?
I'm looking at it right now. It's 37
Okay.
followers on X
Yes, that is
for your
correct.
candidacy for
I just
president of the
created that
United
account a
States
few
of
months
America.
back, but you're right. There's 36, 37. You're saying 37 followers on X.com. Probably about 300 on my campaign Facebook page, and a few on the Truth Social, and a few on my YouTube page. But look, let me talk about that. Right, you're raising a very
Well,
important issue, my friend.
I'm gonna
I'll
let
let
me
you complete your
finish
question.
what
All right, go
let
ahead.
me finish what I'm saying.
Yes,
I mean, you have 37. You're talking about this momentum. How
yes,
does your 37, which will probably grow with time, how do you
yes.
think that'll compare to someone like JD Vance with 4.2 million followers
Yeah.
as the vice president of the United States of America?
Correct. So I will answer this question in this way. See, I ran for city council in the 2020 election cycle, right? I ran in District 6 in Santa Clara, California. I then ran for US Congress in the 23rd district in Florida. And then I decided to run for president. And so it's very simple. I do not have the name recognition. When I filed for office September 5th, 2024, I'm not making any qualms about it. I did not have any name recognition countrywide. I did not have name recognition across the country. I had name recognition in the congressional district I ran in. I had name recognition in the city council district I ran in Santa Clara, California. I did not have national name recognition. But when you look at September 5th, 2024, when I filed my paperwork with the FEC and became a candidate for president as a Republican supporter of President Trump, and when you look at the situation now, I have done 20 to 25 media interviews, and I think if you look at, release some statistics. I'm getting thousands of hits or views on all my social media on a weekly basis, thousands. And when you look at the campaign website, when you add up the campaign Facebook page, when you add up the X.com, when you add up the Truth Social, I'm getting views like you wouldn't even believe it, and the trajectory is really positive. And so it's very simple. A lot of people, I feel, because I am in the eyes of many American people, I'm potentially what people would call the underdog, or however you want to call it. I don't look at myself as an underdog anymore. Believe me, and I'll prove it on November 7, 2028. But let me say this. A lot of people would probably be hesitant, potentially, to click on what you call the like button or the follow button or whatever you want to call it, to actually be a follower or be seen on the social media account. And the reason for that is they're thinking, well, JD Vance will run, this guy will run, this person will run. And I think there's a reason they're not potentially going to like my page right now. But if you look at the people visiting my page, there's a lot of visits. There's a lot of visits. Thousands of podcasts are being downloaded. I asked for numbers from someone who interviewed me, and in a matter of a few days, thousands of podcasts, like the episode that I did, the interview that I did, were downloaded. And there's a reason why Newsmax, there's a reason why Fox News, there's a reason why the Alex Stone Show, there's a reason why RSPN, there's a reason why the Epoch Times, there's a reason why the Jeff and Bill Show, there's a reason why the Good Morning Keys radio show, there's a reason for the Southern Sense Show, and all the incredible shows that have been on want me on their podcast at this time. And the reason for that is they believe I've got a great shot at winning this election, and I am a tremendous, tremendous interview. I will say that without coming across, hopefully, as a pompous guy, because I'm really a nice guy. And I think I'm a relatively humble guy. Sometimes you have to be a little bit not humble, right, to get your point across. But look, the followers are not really reflecting of anything right now. It's not reflecting of the popularity that my campaign is gaining from the perspective of getting votes. I believe in the matter of a few months, I will reach 330 million voters in America through the media. And I think it's going to be a tremendous, tremendous campaign. And maybe once I win the election on November 7, 2028, I believe I've got a great shot at winning, Alex. If I win the election on November 7, 2028, what I'm saying right now will be like the most popular thing. I don't know, maybe it won't, but I think it will be. We're having a tremendous campaign. And so don't look at the number of followers that I may or may not have on the social media. That's not a good reflection of reality. The reflection of reality is the media coverage that I'm getting, and I'm getting tremendous media coverage. And it's not just isolated towards one or two states, it's all across the country, my friend.
So I have a question for you, and I've tried to ask you this before,
Okay.
but you didn't answer it to my satisfaction. So I'm going to ask it again, and
All
hopefully
right.
this will happen.
All
So
right.
obviously you love President Trump.
Correct.
You wear your Trump hat everywhere.
Yes.
You wear
And
your
I'm
Trump
actually
quarter
wearing a
zip.
Trump jacket as well, which got the
You're
US
wearing
flag on
you're
it.
wearing your Trump quarter zip as well. I think we've broken a world record for the amount of times that Donald Trump has been said in a single podcast. Just with you talking, you love
Yes.
Trump, obviously.
Correct.
Can you tell me about your campaign without using two words, Donald Trump?
Sure, I will use three words: President Donald Trump. How about
Oh
that?
my goodness. Okay, without
No, but
using
yeah,
Donald Trump's,
yeah.
obviously, uh, do you have a campaign platform without President Trump's message or his campaign?
I don't want to. I don't want
What's
to get
going to be
into a
different?
hypothetical dialogue. No, I understand your question, Alex. I don't want to get into a hypothetical dialogue. I am unequivocally running as the biggest, most loyal supporter of President Donald J. Trump in America, and that's how it is. And I don't. I love President Trump. I love President Trump. I don't want to talk about my campaign without President Donald J. Trump. And so I don't want to get into a hypothetical discussion about circumstance and things like that, especially in this situation. I don't want to talk about it. And so, I am wearing the Trump hat. Sometimes I wear the USA hat. Sometimes I wear the Trump hat. For the southern border visit, I wore my military Trump hat, the camouflage military Trump hat. And, so I think it's been a tremendous campaign. And I will say this, one of the reasons why I am having, in my opinion, a lot of success for my presidential campaign is because of my support and loyalty towards President Trump. I've not just started campaigning as a Republican supporter of President Trump when everything was really, really positive and after he won the election. I supported him when there were very few people who wanted to support him because people tend to be political. And I was not political, and I don't like politics. I say that in my book, One Nation Under God, as well. I don't like politics. I tolerate politics because I use politics as a conduit to serve our great American people and to help make America great again, keep America great, and save America. I don't like the political games. I don't like politics to a large extent. But, so I don't want to talk about my campaign without President Donald J. Trump. I love President Trump. I have supported and I've been campaigning as a Republican supporter of President Trump right from the 2020 election cycle. And so I don't want to talk about a hypothetical situation that you just raised.
Okay, well, I understand your why you would say that. Obviously, you're running as the most loyal Trump supporter probably ever, I would assume, is your claim. I want to keep this discussion going for a few more minutes, but before that, we do have to take a break. Guys, if you go to mypillow.com and use the promo code GENZ, GENZ, you can get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. They've released within the past year or so the MyPillow 2.0. You may have the MyPillow 1.0, but you do not have the MyPillow 2.0, and you need to get it. Please watch this video about the MyPillow 2.0 and use that promo code GENZ for a discount of up to 66% off of your order.
Looks like you've been sleeping well,
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
and you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Use that promo code GENZ, GENZ. For that one in particular, it's 50% off of your order. It is a great deal. I have the MyPillow 2.0, so please, please, please use that promo code GENZ to get that discount of 50% off of your order. Gary, we don't have a lot of time left, but I do want to ask
come
you.
on. We got like 15 minutes more. This is a lot of fun for me. I really appreciate you, my friend. This is a tremendous podcast, and I really encourage you to continue. I know you and I talked about this off air a few days back, and I really encourage you to continue the Alex Stone Show, because I think what you have done is monumental. It's tremendous. 350, probably more than that podcast, and your age is 21. I think that's just a tremendous motivator for young people. You know, I attended the Arizona Young Republicans event recently, and 2 days back, I think it was. And I met a lot of young people. You look, I believe our young people have tremendous potential. There were so many great MAGA patriotic people at that event. And, I think our young people have just some tremendous potential. And I think you and I discussed this probably a little while back. I want to see a lot of young people develop into great leaders. I think our country needs great leadership. And when we have great leaders, our country moves in the right direction, because the people, if they are supporting the right leader, that's a tremendous thing for our country. And so I just hope you continue the Alex Stone Show. I think you've got a tremendous following as well already. I'm assuming there's probably about thousands of people listening into our interview live right now. And, I just want to really congratulate you for the tremendous success that you have seen at such an early age. And I really hope that you and all the people listening into this Alex Stone Show right now go for their dreams. Go for your dreams. Don't hold back on going for your dreams. Take action and actually move towards achieving your positive, productive dreams. And, that's just my quick, I guess you can call it advice if you want to call it that. I guess it's unsolicited advice at this time, but I really want to help our young people along with our senior people as well. But I really want to help our young people. You are the future of our country, and I consider myself to be quite young as well. I'm not 21 like you, obviously, Alex, but I am 40 years old for a presidential election. I think that's quite young. And so I'll let you ask any question that you want. I just wanted to sort of say this to you, and thank you for what you're doing for the MAGA movement and just for youth in general in America, my friend.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that, Gary. Unfortunately, I live in Kansas City, Missouri, and there's a pretty bad storm that's like coming in within the next few minutes. So I
really,
it's supposed to be extremely bad. So I want to end it on a good note and have my audience find where to find you. Can you share with my audience where people can find you and your campaign and your book that you've mentioned a couple times?
Definitely, my friend. My campaign website is www.garybarveforamerica.com. I'll spell it for you. Gary. Barve is spelled B as in boy, A as in America, R as in Republican, V as in victory, E as in elephant, foramerica.com. Links to my campaign social media are via the campaign website as well. A lot of my interviews that I've done are on my campaign website as well. And I'm on x.com. I have a campaign Facebook page. I have a Truth Social page as well. And my book is One Nation Under God, and it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, and it's also on the iBooks. It's on these three platforms, and the paperback version is available. I think it's for about approximately $15, and the ebook version is about $7 or $7.99 or something like that. And I think it's a great book. I just want to say this: on the cover page of the book, it's me wearing the Trump hat, the red Trump hat with the U.S. flag on it, and I've tried to replicate a look that President Trump has. He calls it the tough as nails look. And in the photo session that I did, I tried to replicate that look, and I think it's come out pretty well. I think you'll like the book. Read it if you like it. Let me know, and I hope that it helps you. I really, really hope that it adds some sort of insight into the Trump Republican Party and also into my presidential campaign as a Republican supporter of the greatest and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Gary, thank you so much for coming on my show. I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. Go check out his website, GaryBarveForAmerica.com, and please check out his book. Thank you guys so much for taking time to listen to my show. If you guys, like I said, go to MyPillow.com, use that promo code GENZ, GENZ, all one word. You could get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. It will be 50% off of the MyPillow 2.0. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Gary, once again. God bless you all, and goodbye.